Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC, presents Comedy Appetizers, a podcast where you will find short comedy sets, stories, and funny bits from the famous and not so famous. Here's your host and MC, Scott Edwards.
Hi, and welcome back to Comedy Appetizers. We have another great, fun, short set for you today to kick off your Friday and get you laughing through the weekend. This young man was a very, very popular TV guest on many different shows back in the late 70s and early 80s. He was a regular at my clubs from 1980 to about 1986. Very funny guy. In fact, he had his own show. But anyway, let me tell you about him. His name's Jimmy Aleck. That's right, Jimmy Aleck. He has done a little bit of acting, but mostly as a stand-up comic. He was the guest on a lot of different shows, including Carson and Letterman and Evening at the Improv and other shows like that. As a stand-up comic and as a guy, he was really great to work with, and as I said, was a regular at my clubs for many years. But hey, enough jibber-jabber. Let's get into some comedy. Ladies and gentlemen, the very funny Jimmy Aleck.
My name is Jimmy Aleck, and I'd like to find something out from the audience before I begin. How many people own 1982 automobiles? How many of you? Well, don't worry, we'll get you a ride home after the show, no problem. I don't know how you feel about it, but I get the feeling that new cars are kind of a ripoff. I mean, you get the feeling estimated miles per gallon, and what you actually get is very similar to salary and take-home pay. I'm originally from Chicago, and are you from Chicago, really? Yeah, big deal. Very dangerous to drive in Chicago, especially in the winter, because people give you such stupid advice. Like if you're driving in a snowstorm and your car starts to slide all over the road, you know what people tell you to do? It's the truth. They'll tell you to turn your wheels in the same direction that you're sliding. I'm sliding towards a ditch. That's like telling someone, you see a semi coming head on, floor it. I drive a Volkswagen, and people who drive Volkswagen, you drive a Volkswagen again, big deal. I don't really care. But people who drive Volkswagens have a serious problem. We think we own a Corvette. Have you ever seen us drive? We're gonna and we're only going 10 miles an hour. We got Orson Welles jogging past us here. And I think there are too many restrictions now when you drive. 55 mile an hour speed limit? Come on! I parallel park at 55 miles an hour. I can't afford a new car because I'm in debt. And I'm in debt for one real good reason. Visa. I'll never forget my first Visa card. I had a $1,000 limit. I was all excited. $1,000. In a week, I spent $2,700. And you know what they do when you spend that much money in a week? They raise your limit. It's like the company saying, oh yeah, well I bet you can't spend $5,000. I'm in big trouble with credit cards, though. As a matter of fact, Carl Malden just called me. He told me to leave home without it. Of all the bills I received, though, the one that really bothers me is the phone bill. You know, I hate it because they list all the calls that you made. And every month, there's always a number on there you know you didn't make. So what do? You call the number. You find out you didn't make it, now you made it twice. I always get ripped off, though. You know who takes advantage of me? Car mechanics. Because I have no knowledge of the automobile. And if you're ignorant about the car, don't ever let the mechanic know this. The other day I made a big mistake. I went up to this mechanic and I said, excuse me, sir, could you take a look at my car? I think it's broke. I could see Hawaiian vacation written all over this guy's face. But the man was getting tanner in front of my eyes. You won't believe what my girlfriend did. She brought her car in to get it fixed. Guy asked her what kind of car she had. She told him green. Mechanics were parachuting into the parking lot. I don't mean to make fun of women there, because I really believe women are much better prepared for the world than men are. Like, well, sure, yeah. Like when I was growing up, I was never taught housework. That was girl stuff. I was taught things like baseball. Very useful now that I live on my own. It's so much easier to cook when you know how to bunt. But I'm learning to do domestic things, I'm learning. Like it used to be, button falls off my jacket, I used to just leave it off. Now I know, button falls off, sew up the hole. Sometimes I get the feeling women don't appreciate a good sense of humor, though. Like, take a girl to a drive-in. When she goes to the washroom, move the car. They don't think that's too funny, You know what really bothers me? What bothers me is when people use silly cliches all the time. Like I do not like to fly. So what do I hear to comfort me all the time? People are always telling me, safer to fly than to drive your car. Now, this could be true, but when my car engine stalls, I don't fall 40,000 feet. You know what really frightens me about airplanes, though? The black box. You know what that is? That's what they put the flight recording. Have you ever noticed? Whenever there's a bad accident, the first thing they recover is the black box. You can't destroy this thing. I want to know, what is the black box made from, and why don't they make planes of the same material? Because I'll tell you, whenever they ask me where I want to sit, I tell them, in the black box. That's it.
That was Jimmy Aleck live on stage. A very funny guy. Was working TV and stages and comedy for many years, and a good golfer too. In fact, he did a lot of the celebrity golf tournaments. Anyway, good friend, great guy to work with, Jimmy Aleck. Hey, we hope you enjoyed this short comedy set. Thanks for joining us on Comedy Appetizers. Be sure to tell your family and friends the best way to start your Friday with a smile. And don't forget, on Sunday, our main podcast, Standup Comedy, your host and MC releases a new show. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Comedy Appetizers. Be sure to share with family and friends, and we will see you this Sunday for our regular podcast, your host and MC, and again next Friday for another episode of Comedy Appetizers. Bye.